Okay. In my previous video, I did a brief review of why I use Spellslinger. This video is going to be designed to be an in-depth guide into what I consider to be the final version of this Lightning Warp Bloodmage variation. And the reason why it's the final version to me is because no matter how many hundreds of divine that I put in addition to this build, I would see under 1% of improvement, if any improvement at all, or I could even potentially make it worse. So this has everything that I would want in a character. It clears the maps quickly. It has high survivability. It has high single target DPS. It's extremely fun, and I love the visuals. And so, the other thing is I use 2 buttons, and that's it. And also, I use 3 skills. That's it. That's all I need. It's a very minimalistic build that can do literally everything that you could possibly want it to. And I can't make it any better that I can think of. And I'm going to kind of go over and explain in detail why. So, as most of you probably know, this is the Lightning Warp Bloodmage variation, where I will consider the mandatory piece is the Undying Hate Timeless Jewel with the Tribute of Tekrod. And the reason why that's mandatory is because you get this node, it regenerates life, and you make your skills cost life. There's a couple of ways to do that. You can either make your skills cost life with a support gem, or you can path to blood magic and make all your skills cost life regardless. This is the route I took, just to free up support slots in my skill gems. And I was having to path over there anyway. And so I would consider this, I honestly would consider this the only mandatory piece about this build, actually. I used to say that Wrath Pith was mandatory and that Atatulis was mandatory. Matter of fact, I may have said that in my previous video. But after testing around, damage really isn't important in this game right now. You only need so much. And the reason why I say that is I have 1.1 million sheet DPS while I'm in my hideout. If I take Wrath Pith off and I take Atatuli's Bloodletting off, my damage goes from 1.1 million to 53,000. And you think, whoa, that's crazy low. You basically can't run your build. Well, not true. You can clear T15 maps and probably all the hardest content in the game at 50k DPS sheet in town, in hideout. The biggest difference that I would feel personally is I know that if I went into the Uber Arbiter fight right now, it would take me quite a while to beat him. I wouldn't be able to kill him before his first phase. It'd be a long, hard, difficult battle. And that's why I would consider these next pieces the nice to haves to increase your single target DPS, but I don't think they're mandatory anymore. The other thing that's I would consider mandatory for my variation, or for a variation, not mine, is Spellslinger. Spellslinger is mandatory for what I do. I discussed why in a previous video, but I'm going to explain why again. So the tech rod is mandatory because your skills cost life, you regenerate life. And as you're regenerating life, it builds up to allow you to overcap your life regen to an insanely high number, to where no matter how many times you cast, you're topped out. I'll kind of give you an example here. I'm just going to cast my Lightning Warp. It costs 3,000 life, as you can see in my life pool on the bottom left. It took me a few seconds to get it up to where now I've got like 60k life regen in my hideout. I can just hold down Lightning Warp infinitely and I always have enough life to cast it. Another reason why I would consider this my final variation is I messed around with a ton of different ways to do this, and one thing that's pretty annoying about this character, this build in general, is that life regen is, if you try this, you'll quickly notice that when you are depleting your life so quickly, you are having to wait on your life to regen. And that is a con of the build. And so to negate that con, I incorporated a lot of life regeneration in the tree itself. I picked up a From Nothing diamond so that I could pick up these life regeneration nodes. The other thing I did is I picked up timeless jewels that have increased effect of notable passives with at least, you either want 5% increased life regen with 20% effect, or 4% life regen with 25% effect. Obviously the 20 and 5 is cheaper. Everything else is just nice to have, but I would consider the only thing that I would need on the jewel is the 5% life regen and the at least 20% effect. And what that does is, for each of these nodes slotted, which I'm going to have slotted anyway, it increases my life regeneration. I did the same thing with this jewel. Has increased effect of notable passives, has life regeneration rate, and then I picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's 24% increased life regeneration rate, which you absolutely feel whenever you equip it. And the reason why I have these two slotted is because I picked up a Megalomaniac jewel. In the search site, I put in every single one of these notable nodes and looked for anything that had at least 2 within the circle, and I picked this one up because it's the cheapest. I don't necessarily need them. I could technically free up 2 points and put in a jewel for more damage, but I don't need more damage. I want more life regeneration. And that's why I did that. Another thing on the tree is I picked up Zealot's Oath. I have so much excess life recovery. I've got 3,800 ES, so if I'm having 120,000 life regen per second, well, if I get one shot, yeah, that can happen. But unless I'm one shot, I'm going to instantly recover my energy shield to 3,800 as soon as I'm hit. So as long as I have at least 1 health left, I am instantly filling to full. Even if they do all of my damage but 1 life, I am instantly full in a second, less than a second, because of how much life regen I have. That's also why I pathed here to Arcane Surge. You pick up Arcane Surge, you have a 10% chance to gain Arcane Surge on crit. I have a 100% crit chance, and then you convert the Arcane Surge to do life regeneration. So in combat, my life regeneration goes from 60k in my hideout versus 120k during combat because of Arcane Surge. And it gets that high because I also scale it with my gloves. Increased effect of Arcane Surge. I also picked up life regen node here. And only for the life regen. That's how much I care about it. This node's also a very strong skill with Atatulis, so that's just for DPS. Everything else is pretty much just for DPS. This is for a little bit more survivability, but this is all path to at least get my crit chance to 100%, and then once you get your crit chance to 100%, then you're just picking up crit damage nodes. And that's why these are slotted, these are slotted. This is slotted. I picked this one because of the slight increase in energy buildup, which is honestly a good segue into, okay, well, why Spellslinger? So, I went over it in my previous video. I'm going to go over it again. Lightning Warp builds energy for Spellslinger as you cast it. Another really nice thing about Lightning Warp is that it has one of the fastest based cast speed times in the game. I think the quickest you can possibly have is 0.4 that I've seen. Lightning Warp, if you look at the cast time, it's 0.5 seconds as its base. So that means even if you don't have any additional speed modifiers, you're casting that twice in a second. Now with all my additional speed modifiers, I'm at 0.16. So I'm getting 5-6 casts a second for my Lightning Warp. And I got to that because I incorporated cast speed in a lot of areas of my build. I've got them on my gloves with the socket. I have what I would consider my best item is this ring. I crafted this ring and I just got lucky. This thing's insane. I want to sanctify it, but I'm scared to brick it. I'm just leaving it as is, but this is a insane cast speed ring that has rarity, max life, lightning damage, everything that I want for my character. I pick up this helmet just for max life. It makes all your resistance to 0. I don't care about my resistance. Chaos resistance might be a nice to have, but now my life pool is high enough that I only get killed is if the timing is very bad. Like if I depleted my health casting all my skills and then I happen to get hit at the time my life pool is low, that's when I'll get killed. So, and then of course my amulet has life, increased life, so just stacking life for the rest of the build. My body armor has increased energy shield, and that's important because of this node here. So yeah, nothing. A lot of you are probably familiar with that just on the general concept of the Bloodmage build. So, back to Spellslinger. This casts very quickly. It builds energy. What I have in Spellslinger is Ball Lightning. And then I have increased energy build up. I also put in Valenta's propulsion, so that way the Ball Lightnings go faster projectile. It allows me to run through the map more quickly. I picked up energy retention as a nice to have. If I cast my Ball Lightning, it could refund half of the energy, which allows me to cast it faster as Lightning Warp is building up that energy for me, which just makes it feel a little bit smoother as I'm running through the map because I'm casting more lightning balls or Ball Lightnings. And then also multi-shot. This also, I would pick this up over the energy retention if you have like a level 19 or 18. I don't think a level 20 is mandatory. So if you only have a level 19 or 18 or 17, I would just drop that and then have this, because the additional projectiles allows Lightning Warp to hit 3 different Ball Lightnings with one cast, which makes for a smoother feel as well. With Ball Lightning, with Lightning Warp, I put cast speed. Rakiata's Flow doesn't do anything for sheet DPS, but in Tooltip and Path of Building, it's an insane damage increase. You technically don't need it if you don't have it. I mean, these two are kind of expensive, so you can just kind of slot in Honestly, these 4 completely customizable if you don't have the damage. I would just do cast speed and anything else that improve the damage on your skill. So if you're kind of getting started, you don't need these 2. It's just better for overall increased DPS. And then the last thing is cast on critical. I tried variations where you had more than one aura or more than one buff here. I don't think it's needed. I sacrificed a lot of survivability or picking up spirit in other pieces of your gear felt worse in terms of my overall playthrough. And it also required me to have to invest heavily more, and I just didn't need to at the time. So I literally only have these 3 skills. And that's another thing that I love about the build, is it's very minimalistic. And this combo is insane. So in cast on critical is just arc. I put boundless energy in this again to be able to cast arcs more quickly. Then I put in Piety's Mercy, so that way arc doesn't kill them but leaves them in culling strike range, so that I can teleport to them with Lightning Warp from across the map. I then picked up Scion's Temper, which increases the amount of projectiles that arc will do, which basically improves the clear in high density. I played around with this support gem. It's very expensive, not needed. It's like 44 divine right now. I dropped this because this combo allowed arc to have +4 levels from support instead of just +1. It also allowed the cast on critical to have +4 instead of +1. But dropping that, or dropping Scions to pick up this, didn't feel better. And I didn't really need the damage in arc because the damage was high enough. And so I kind of just said no to that. And so, just kind of as a recap, we have the Timeless Jewel for Tech Rod, we cast Lightning Warp, we have our life regeneration rate high, I hold down Lightning Warp, and that's it. Once I get to the place where I want to cast Spell Slinger, I will now hold down Spell Slinger. And so I just hold these 2 buttons. As I'm mapping, I'll continually keep Lightning Warp pressed, but maybe like path by looking where I want to go with Spell Slinger. And so this is my direction. I can make it go anywhere I want to go. I can pivot at a moment's notice to go to somewhere else. I can stop to pick up loot, and then I can immediately pick back up with a combo. And that's all I do. I hold down Lightning Warp, I hold down Spell Slinger, and I just path across the map. I teleport to cold enemies from the cast on crit with arc, and it has insane clear speed and insane high single target DPS, and it's everything that I possibly could want. Let me think if I'm missing anything. I don't think so. That's the build in a nutshell. So now I'll kind of give you a showcase. So let's just pick this map here. I'll just throw in this, and we'll do the map.
No justice, but divine justice.
I will say the only map tag that I avoid is the one that hurts your life regen. Everything else I can just blindly do. So yeah, this is Delirious T15 1 portal zone, and I hold down 2 buttons, and that's it. Now I just look around, I hover my cursor, and I path. And that's all I have to do. I don't have a 20 buttons to click combo that I need to do. I literally just hover my cursor where I want to go. I look for cold enemies and I path to them. And so, as you can see, it's pretty insane. I really don't know anything else that I would need, which is why I'm considering this my final version. I love the way it looks. I love how easy it is. Yeah. I'm going to get to the boss, and then I'm going to show you I'm going to show you it without the shield and without Atatulis. So let me look for the boss. Where's he at? Bottom left. And I'm kind of at the point in the game too where I don't even like picking up currency anymore. I only like picking up dings. And so that's also kind of why I'm kind of done with build. So yeah, that's a T15 Delirious 1 portal map completed. Now I'll show you why these aren't mandatory. I'm going to remove this, drop my DPS from 1 million to 50k, and we're going to go do another map. And now my life cost instead of 3k is only 1,000. And we're going to do the same thing. You genuinely won't really notice a difference as you're pathing, clearing rares and white mobs. So that's why damage you don't need in this game right now. It may get to a point later where you will, but for just general mapping, you know, I can cut my damage by 90% and still be fine. Granted, my gear's pretty cracked, so not really a fair comparison in that sense, but I just wanted to prove the point that you don't need to have a million DPS to do the content in this game. But I'll get to the boss and kind of show you. Okay, well, where's its con at? So where's the boss this time? Let's go find him. Alright, there he is. Alright, so he's probably going to be a little bit more of an issue now. Because now I only have 50k damage, and you'll see quickly. So much slower, not impossible, still doable, so don't be disheartened if you don't have the best possible gear. You don't need it. I would just say priority number one is getting this jewel, getting enough levels to path to where you need to path to, getting enough life regeneration, understanding the feel between Lightning Warp and using Spell Slinger. And you really don't have to do anything else because you only have, like, what is this? Oh, oh yeah, You only have 15. You only have 15 support gems to worry about. So yeah, pretty simple, minimalistic build that does all the content you need with a lot of customizability. And I hope you enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions, if I missed anything. Hopefully I didn't. And yeah.